Greetings, young spawn of the library, and welcome back to the scariest, most horrifying, heavy metal, deep sea storytime ever. Terror on the High Seas with Mr. Fish. That's me! This is a safe place to feel and learn about your dark feelings. So if you feel angry, frustrated, worried, sad, or scared, this is the place for you. Sometimes the best way to handle your dark feelings is to just let them out. Remember, when you see the shark alarm comes on, what do? We yell, scream, get up and run around, and shake and wiggle those dark feelings out. Should we practice? Okay, get ready. 3, 2, 1. Everyone, take a seat. Wow, I feel so much better after running around and screaming. So, we are going to continue reading Vampires today. Then, to get all those scared feelings out, we're going to sing an angry song. Then, we're going to do a guided meditation to let out all the dark feeling, and you'll feel nice and relaxed. Everyone, get out your e-readers and follow along. Vampires, Demons of the Dark Sea by
Chapter 31, The Hunger. Back inside the cabin, the captain settled himself in his rocking chair in front of the hearth. He arranged his cape, as he always did, in precise folds. It might, Grace thought, have been a cozy scene, if he wasn't the captain of a ship of vampires, if he had human eyes and lips and a nose to draw breath in and out of his body, instead of the dark void where those features should have been. If, in all the other cabins, the rest of the crew were not sating their hunger for blood. Yes, but for all these things, it might have been a cozy scene. And what was her fate to be, she wondered, as she watched him stoke the fire, the skin on the back of his head, reminding her that he still had some connection to his human form. He had saved her from Sidorio's clutches, yes, but perhaps she had not been rescued so much as swapped. Perhaps he had been used for his authority as captain to claim her blood for himself. As they had made their way along the corridors of the ship, Grace had seen door after door close, as each vampire followed his or her donor into a cabin. The donors entered first, without exception, she noticed, as if they went inside of their own free will, or perhaps so that they were prevented from escaping. "You're trembling, child. Come and join me by the fire." As before, the words seemed to whisper right inside of her head. As Grace walked tentatively towards him, he turned his masked face towards her. "Ah, I see that it isn't the cold that makes you tremble so. But why? I've told you that there's nothing to fear." She thought again of the closing doors, and of the donors' languid resignation to their fate. "What's going on in the other cabins?" "Of course, you need to know. Why don't you make yourself comfortable, and I'll do my best to answer your questions." He had this knack for sounding so very reasonable, as if they were talking about a problem with her homework, and not about the savage acts that were taking place in the other cabins even as they spoke. Grace sat down in the rocking chair beside him, but only at the edge, her feet resting on the floor to keep the chair still. "As you have seen, child," he said, "each of the members of the crew has a donor. Let me reassure you that the donors are well looked after. They are generously fed and live in comfort." That, thought Grace, was a matter of opinion, for how could you live in comfort when you knew that you had nothing to offer except your blood to another on a weekly basis? "It's a good question," the captain said. Grace had forgotten his ease at reading her unspoken thoughts. "But at the moment of sharing, as we term it, is not at all painful and is actually somewhat brief." Grace lifted up her feet from the floor and swung her legs up, making herself more comfortable. She started to feel weary and stifled a yawn. "We feed the donors a very careful diet. extremely high in nutrients. He noted with a smile. It can make you a little sleepy. Grace jerked upright. The captain continued. Such nourishing food can be a shock to the system, but as you can imagine, it results in a very high-quality blood, and that's how we manage to reduce the sharing to once a week. We make a feast of it, a ritual, I suppose, not only to maximize the nutrition content of the blood at the time of the sharing, but also to pay tribute to the donors. We are very grateful for their gift, the gift of life. Each week, you see, the crew is reborn. He paused and stoked the fire again. But what if the other crew members want to take blood in greater quantity or more often? That is not an option, Grace. Not so long as I am their captain. They do not need to feast more often, and they do not need more than a given dose of blood. Taking more would only endanger the donor, but also themselves. It would unbalance them, create, what is the term for it? Mood swings. The problem is the more you take, the more you think you need. But there's the difference, you see, between what you need and what you convince yourself you want. But Grace could not let it go. What if there were vampires under your command who wanted to take blood in less controlled ways? Then they would have to leave the ship and make their own way in the world. It is not the way we do things here. Vampires are much maligned, Grace. We have been demonized. Why, think of the shanty. If pirates are danger and vampires are death. You know it's true, and of course I understand why. We've done it to ourselves. We felt the hunger and based our whole existence upon it. I have found another way, and myself, I no longer even need blood. This was welcome news to Grace. Her hands clenched slowly, but began to relax. There are a few of us for whom this is the case. The need for blood is really for prana, for energy. I have been taught to feast on that alone. So you take energy from your donors? I don't have a donor, Grace, he said. And no, nor am I looking for one, so you can relax. The taking of energy works a little differently. It's complicated, and I think that's a discussion for another time. Your head must be spinning with all you have seen and heard tonight. You look tired, but let me reassure you that it is a natural kind of fatigue, and I have no need to draw energy from you or anyone else. I hope I have given you such reassurances that you could return to your cabin and rest. Yes, Grace said, getting up from the chair. Yes, you have. Thank you. Behind him, the fire dwindled a little. Grace thought that the veins in his cloak were growing softly, but perhaps it was just the reflection of the embers. Quietly, she turned and walked away to the door. As she reached the threshold, his words came into her head again. I do so enjoy our talks, Grace. She pushed open the door and stepped out on the dark, deserted deck. A pleasant breeze was blowing, and Grace made her way once more up to the guardrail. Turning back, she looked up at the ship's wing-like sails. The moon was shining low tonight, and scattered light onto the sails made them glow like the captain's cape. She could swear she saw the same veins dimly in the underside of the material. What material was this? Was it the same fabric that the captain's cloak was made of? The moon is full tonight, is it not? She was no longer alone. Without turning around, she recognized the voice. It was Sidorio. Grace's blood ran cold. When the moon is full, I have a high hunger. She turned. She saw a horror far worse than she had anticipated. In his thick, heavily veined arms, Sidorio carried a man. The man who had sat opposite him at the feast. He was sprawled out and appeared to be sleeping, but a shaft of moonlight revealed that this was a sleep from which he would never wake. Sidorio had drained too much of his blood. And now, the vampire strode across the red deck boards and, without a moment's hesitation, tossed the dead body over the side of the ship. Grace heard the dull splash as it landed in the water. The sound ricocheted in her head like a gunfire. Never had she felt such danger. Never had she felt so completely alone.
Okay, put your e-readers away. Wow, that was pretty scary. When you're scared, where do you feel it? In your head. Does your tummy get tight? Do your hands get sweaty? Why, that's okay and totally normal.
My leg.
Well, I feel a lot better after screaming and running around. All my fear is gone. Now it's time to sing along with your favorite angry song. Are you ready to get angry? Here we go. Wow! I feel really angry. When you're angry, where do you feel it? In your forehead? In your fist? Does your chest get all tight? Why, that's okay and totally normal. Wow, I feel a lot better after screaming and running around. All my anger is gone. You've all been so awesome today, working through your dark feelings. You deserve a rest, so we're going to wrap up with some guided meditation. Everybody sit or lay down in a way that makes you feel good.
We are going to go on a journey inside our minds. So, let's get comfortable. By finding a nice place to sit or to lie down. As you're settling in, close your eyes or let your gaze relax towards the floor. Feel where your body connects with the ground. Breathe in and out. If you have any thoughts or distractions that are hanging out in your mind, think of those thoughts as little clouds. and you are a giant. Now I want you to think of your favorite color. Pick just one color. Really think about it. And imagine that now there's a bucket of paint in front of you of that very color. Now grab your paintbrush and paint your space that color. Paint the whole space. Cover everything in your paint until all you see is that color. Oh, it looks so pretty. Slowly come back to your real space. Ground yourself and find where you are in that space. Take a deep breath. As you breathe, feel the warm light inside of you. Let your light shine. Thank you for joining me. I love you, and I hope to see you next time. Namaste.
Wow! After meditating, I feel really relaxed. Almost sleepy. It feels so good to experiment with feeling scared and angry. And to make yourself feel better, you can run around. Or you can sit down and quietly breathe nice and slow. Oh, I kind of need a nap now.
All right.